Hello, this is Megan Dorsey with College Prep Results, and there are going to be some changes to the way the ACT does extended time for testers who have already been approved because they have a diagnosed disability. And these changes are going to take place with the September 2018 exam. So if you have a student or know someone who needs extended time for their testing, you need to know about these changes. The first thing to understand is the new changes are going to give students who have national test date extended time, which is most commonly 1.5 times extended time. Instead of being given an entire kind of bucket of time and being told use it however you want, they're now going to exact timing for sections. So what that means is students, instead of the normal 45 minutes for English, which is multiple choice grammar, students are going to have 70 minutes. Then they'll go to math as a section where they will sit for 90 minutes. Now this means if a student needed more than 90 minutes, they still only get 90 minutes. If they needed less, they're still going to have to sit there with the entire extended time testing room for the full 90 minutes. At that point, students are going to be given a 15-minute break. Then both reading and science coming after the break normally would be 35-minute sections. Extended time students will now be given 55 minutes. If students choose to do the optional written essay, there'll be a short break before that, and they'll be given 60 minutes as opposed to the normal 40 for the extended time essay. So what this is doing is it's taking what ACT used to do, which was we're giving you extended time. We're giving you 1.5 times time in this free time period where you can take breaks on your own schedule. You can take the time you need for all of these sections, English, math, reading, science, and allocate it according to your own needs, and saying, nope, everybody now is going to have exactly 1.5 times the time for a normal test in each of these sections. We're going to move as a group section to section. Why are they doing this? The first thing is to increase fairness. And I understand that it's very important to protect the needs of students with diagnosed learning differences or psychological differences who have some needs for testing, but it's also really important to protect those who don't have extended time so that they aren't, put at a disadvantage with other students getting an alternative testing option. The other thing is that they found that a lot of students with extended time weren't using their time very effectively. So if they said, you get 5 hours, use it appropriately, they were finding that a lot of students couldn't pace themselves adequately. They weren't able to decide how much time to use in each of the sections and either didn't use enough time or used too much and ran out of time before the end of the exam. In other words, ACT is saying what was intended to be a benefit for students was an added distraction. They had to know how to pay attention to their own time. Now, as someone who works with students and coaches students on how to improve on the ACT, I'm kind of disappointed because I had my students clearly understanding this is how much time I need to spend on English, this is how much time I can spend on math, so that they could allocate time as needed. Here are some of the real downsides to the change in extended time. The first thing is students are going to be going a long time without breaks. So an extended time student is expected to come in, sit down, go through all of the regular bubble in your name, get your information ready, plus 70 minutes of English and 90 minutes of math. So already kids are sitting there for 3 solid hours, maybe more if it takes longer for the administrative tasks, before they're allowed a 15-minute break. This is horrible news for students who have ADD, ADHD, for students who have any medical need that might require them to have more frequent stretch breaks or bathroom breaks, or even breaks to have a snack to replenish or monitor their blood sugar. This is not beneficial in that way. Then students will finish out another 2 hours before they can get a brief break before the additional hour essay. So what we're essentially saying is we're expecting kids who have all sorts of learning differences and psychological differences to sit for 5+ hours of an extended time exam with only one 15-minute break. I think that's a downside. The other issue is there's really no flexibility. And this is where I'm really sad to see that the ACT is taking the same approach as the SAT, because for years they provided an extended time alternative. I've had students, and one student that I think of in particular, that I was working with her in private tutoring, and she could do the English with barely any extra time needed. She was great in math, probably didn't need any extended time, and I was beginning to wonder, why do you have extended time, until we sat down to do the reading. And then I said, oh, I see why you have extended time, because her reading and processing was her true testing need. Under the old method, she could take just a little bit of extra time in English and not much if she didn't need it in math, and she could really focus on reading where she had a diagnosed need for extra time. Now, if she were taking the test starting in September, she would only get 55 minutes. She wouldn't be able to say, I don't need help in math, but I really have a need in reading. I need to use it there. So I'm not a big fan of these changes to the extended time approach for the ACT. Here's the good news. There are some alternatives. So if you've got a student or you work with students who have extended time and are really going to be negatively impacted by this change to the approach to extended time in administration, here's your solution. This new approach goes for the National Administration for Extended Time, which is the most common accommodation students have, extra time at 1.5 times regular. But if you've got a student whose needs are not going to be met by that, you need to work with their school's guidance counseling department to make a special request for accommodations to ACT. Now, your school may not be used to doing this, but ACT has for years accepted special requests. I've worked with students who have things like 2 times extended time or 3 times extended time with a reader. This means that in some cases, students are taking the test over multiple days. So we're not expecting someone to sit in one sitting and take this entire extended time exam. So if you're finding that this new change where 1.5 times is going to be rigidly administered and there are not going to be as many frequent breaks and there's not going to be the ability to take a little more time where it is particularly needed, I would encourage you to work with the guidance counseling department at your child's high school, or if you're homeschool, make sure you have your diagnostic materials together from your medical practitioners, explaining why you need more than just 1.5 times the regular time. It's not going to be a problem for many students, but there are going to be some students who are going to have to look at getting in those special extended time circumstances. So going forward with this 2018 school year, if you're planning on taking the ACT and you've had extended time approved in the past, just understand these new changes and understand that they're going to be cutting you off at the end of each section, telling you when to move forward, and you're no longer going to be self-pacing and taking your own breaks. So it's important to know the changes. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them here in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And good luck to everybody taking their standardized test this year. Bye-bye.